touchy subject, I know, but do you or anyone that you love deal with UTIs? If so, I gotta read you this. Welcome to another episode of Hold Up, Let Me Read You This. I'm reading you How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger and Jean Stone. This section is called Avoiding Chicken to Avoid Urinary Tract Infections. Where do bladder infections come from? Back in the 1970s, studies of women over time found that movement of bacteria from the rectum into the vaginal area preceded the appearance of bladder infections. It took another 25 years, though, before DNA fingerprinting techniques proved that E. coli strands residing in the gut serve as a reservoir for urinary tract infections, also known as UTIs. Another 15 years passed before scientists tracked down the ultimate culprit, the original source of some UTI-associated bacteria in the rectum: chicken. McGill University researchers were able to capture UTI-causing E. coli at the slaughter plants, tracing them to the meat supply and then eventually to the urinary specimens obtained from infected women. As a result, we now have direct proof that bladder infections can be zoonosis, an animal-to-human disease. And this is a critical discovery since UTIs affect more than 10 million women each year in the United States at the cost of more than $1 billion. Even worse, it turns out that many of the strands of E. coli in chicken that cause UTIs are now resistant to some of our most powerful antibiotics. Can't we solve this crisis by simply distributing meat thermometers and making sure that people cook chicken thoroughly? No, because of the cross-contamination issue. Studies have shown that handling raw chicken can lead to intestinal colonization, even if you don't eat it. In that case, it doesn't matter how well you cook your chicken. You could incinerate it to ash and still walk away infected. Hey, remember what I was talking about with the UTIs and the chicken? I have more to read to you. Welcome to another episode of Hold Up, Let Me Read You This. I'm still reading How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger and Jean Stone. If you haven't seen my last video about this, go watch that and then come back. The reason most people have more fecal bacteria in their kitchen sinks than in their toilet seats is likely because they prepare their chickens in the kitchen and not in the bathroom. But what if you're really careful? A landmark study published as The Effectiveness of Hygiene Procedures for Prevention of Cross-Contamination from Chicken Carcasses in the Domestic Kitchen put this question to the test. Researchers visited 6 homes, gave each family a raw chicken, and asked them to cook it. After the bird was cooked, researchers returned to find bacteria from chicken feces, Salmonella and Campylobacter, both serious human pathogens, all over the family's kitchens. On the cutting board, the utensils, the cupboard, the refrigerator handle, the oven handle, the doorknob, and so on. Now, obviously, these people didn't know what they were doing, so the researchers then repeated the experiment, but this time gave them specific instructions. After they cooked the chicken, the subjects were told to wash these surfaces with hot water and detergent, specifically the cutting board, utensils, cupboard, handles, and knobs. Yet the researchers still found pathogenic fecal matter all over. Reading the study, you could tell the researchers were getting a bit exasperated. Finally, they insisted the subjects use bleach. The dishcloth used to clean up was to first be immersed in bleach disinfectant, and then the subjects were to spray the bleach on all surfaces and let it sit for 5 minutes. However, the researchers returned to still find Salmonella and Campylobacter on the utensils, a dishcloth, the counter around the sink, and the cupboards. The extent of the kitchen contamination was much less, but still, it appears that unless you treat your kitchen like a biohazard laboratory, the only way to guarantee that you're not going to leave fecal pathogens around the kitchen is to not bring them into your house in the first place.